All right, everybody, welcome to the webinar. My name is Zach. I'm going to be your host and teacher today. First of all, big thank you to everybody for registering and attending this webinar today. This is going to be amazing. I've been looking forward to this all week since we had the idea to do a webinar for everybody who was at the Lennox live events. I've just been stoked out of my mind for this webinar. This is going to be really exciting, everyone. So today, here's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be discussing how to overcome price objections over the phone without losing the call or having to lower your price. All right, does that sound good, everybody? I'm guessing you're here because you saw the title and you've experienced the frustration that can come with these types of calls. You have customers calling in and it seems like all they care about is how much you charge, right? Anybody ever experienced that before? I thought so. And you lose calls because of it. You lose calls because it seems like all the customers want to know is how much you charge. And when you don't give them the price over the phone or you don't give them the price they want, they hang up and they call someone else. This is happening all over the industry, so we decided we're going to do something about it here today. Maybe in the past you thought that it's just because you have the wrong customers calling in or there's some other reason that the calls are so difficult. I want to start today by letting you know that whatever reason you are here for, you can book these calls. It is absolutely possible. Remember that these callers are leads. They have an issue and they need your help just like every other customer. And if you don't help them, who will? Who is going to help these customers? Whatever frustration you may have had in the past with these kind of calls, with these kind of customers, whether you're a business owner or a CSR, you just need the right approach and you need the right people to help you know what to do. Because if you don't book that call, someone else is, and they're going to be in the same boat they would have been with you price-wise. So we're going to help you overcome these calls today. We're going to help you overcome price objections over the phone without losing the call or having to lower your price. All right? So here's my goal today. All right? My goal today is that you are going to walk away from this webinar with 3 specific strategies you can begin implementing in your calls today to see a difference, whether you're an owner or a CSR. Okay, if you're a business owner and you're here learning these strategies today, these are 3 very simple, very actionable things you can take back to your team today to start seeing immediate results in your phone calls. And if you're a CSR, once this webinar is over, you're going to be able to jump on the phones, answer calls, and customers are going to throw their price objections at you, and you're going to be able to overcome those. All right, that is the goal today. So let me give you a little background on myself. All right, I'm Zach. I've been a power coach here at Power Selling Pros for over 2.5 years now. I believe in giving a voice to the people, products, services that can change people's lives. All right, and I believe that's what you guys are. You guys are able to change lives through what you're doing, and you're going to see that today. I've had the privilege of coaching hundreds of CSRs throughout the industry in the US, Canada, and Australia. And I've watched as some of these companies I've been privileged to coach, they've gone from booking 70% of their calls to over 90% in as little as 2 months. And if you're not familiar with those percentages, basically what that says is out of all the calls that come in, people that call, they went from booking 70% of those calls to over 90% in just 2 months. It's remarkable. And what we are showing you here today works. We have seen it empower people and companies across the world, and I have absolutely no reservations about it whatsoever. The only thing that holds people back from having success with these principles is their own mentality. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. All right, now that leads me to a story. A few months ago, I was in the market for a new suit. All right, I just wanted a new suit, no special occasion, I just wanted to look nice. And when I became a coach for Power Selling Pros, I was your average customer, all right? I wanted the most affordable service, or so I thought. I swore to never make a same-day purchase decision. And the company that gave me the lowest price was the one that was going to get my business. Does that sound familiar? You guys ever feel that way or have customers that feel that way? I thought so. I would tell CSRs that I'm going to call you back. I'm going to go talk to my wife, right? All the time. And I was skeptical at first when I learned these secrets that we're going to share with you today because I was convinced that price is what mattered most. But then I had an experience as a coach that made me realize my entire life I was wrong. I had been making purchase decisions not on price, but on something much deeper, something we're going to share with you today. And you see, when I went shopping for new suits, I went into one company, a suit warehouse, and I go up to the guy, and I'm a pretty slender, tall, skinny guy, right? So I tell him I'm looking for something that'll fit me really nicely, and he looks at me and he says, "We have nothing for you." And I'm like, "What? Nothing? This is a suit warehouse. You don't have anything for me." "No, we've got nothing, but you might want to try the other place in town." I was floored, right? So I said, "Gladly, I'll go try the other company." So I went to the other suit shop, and it was a completely different experience. The salesman walks up to me, shakes my hand, smiles from ear to ear. He says, "Hey, what can I do for you? What are you looking for?" And I said, "Well, I'm just looking for a new suit, no special occasions or anything." He says, "Absolutely, we can help. Come on over here." He shows me the suits, pulls 3 of them off the shelf, hands them to me, didn't even measure me, just looked at me, right? Tells me to go try them on. So I'm in the dressing room, and wouldn't you know it, these suits fit like a glove. They were perfect. And I thought, this guy's a wizard. He didn't even measure me, right? He just looked at me, and it was awesome. And meanwhile, while I'm changing into these suits, he's out there talking to my wife, and they basically became friends while I was changing. This guy was amazing. Now, keep in mind, when I walked into this suit shop, I had no intention of buying anything. My purpose was to go in and see how much a suit would cost so that I could plan for it next month. You never have that happen, do you? Of course you do. Every day you have customers that are calling and they're just looking for a price, right? That was me. I just wanted to know how much a suit was. They can be expensive. So I tried these suits on and I walk out and I said, "This blue one is really nice. I like this a lot." And because it fits so well, he says, "Well, we can have it hemmed for you and you can be out of here in 15 minutes with a brand new suit." And I thought, what? You know, Normally you have to wait like a week and a half maybe, to get your suit tailored and fitted perfectly for you. But he was able to hem the pants and have me out of there in 15 minutes if I wanted to. What was I going to say? I couldn't say no. The guy had blown me away. He'd created this amazing experience. He'd overcome all my objections. And I was about to walk out of there with a new suit. So they hemmed the pants, and keep in mind that it was closing time. All right, I walked in about 15 minutes before they closed, and he stuck around with me for a half an hour after they closed. So in total, I was in that store for 45 minutes, and he showed no signs of being inconvenienced by my presence whatsoever. So what turned into just a price shopping experience, me going and looking to see how much will I pay for a suit next month, right? It ended with me walking out of there with a brand new suit and 3 new ties. So much for price shopping, right? But I didn't even care. I didn't care. And so what's the takeaway here? What is the takeaway? The takeaway is that when you create an amazing experience for the customer, price becomes irrelevant. And that is the core of these 3 secrets we are going to show you today. All right? Price is not the deciding factor. It is simply not. We have been coaching companies across the world for the last 10 years in multiple industries, hundreds of people, and without fail, this practice proves true every time, that value and experience matter more than price. All right? Now you might be thinking, well, that's all great, Zach. How does this apply to me? Right? I'm not a suit shop. I don't sell suits. Right? I own a heating and cooling company, or I'm a plumbing company. I need something different, right? So I want you to take a look at this. This is a case study from one of our clients, Russell's Heating and Cooling. Buddy, he's an amazing client. And I want you to hear what happened with Buddy's business the day that him and his team learned these principles, these secrets, how to overcome price objections. Okay, this is immediately after their training what happened. Take a look here.
What happened after your first training? So Barry comes in, spends about 4 hours with our first group of CSRs. So I'm in my office after group 1 goes in for training, and a girl comes to my office and says, "Oh my gosh, you won't believe what just happened." I'm like, "What?" Well, I have no idea what she's going to tell me. She's like, "Well, this lady calls in and says, how much is a tune-up?" And so, I was getting ready to say but instead I was like, nope, got to follow the pattern for excellence here.
Right.
So she runs with her through that, asks a lot of questions, gathers information, builds rapport, does all that stuff, books it, 2-zone tune-up, gets to the end of the call, and she's getting ready to close it out, and she goes, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell her how much it is. And so she then answers the question of how much it is and books it. So we celebrated, high-fived, whatever, gave knuckles, and it was cool. Comes back to my office like a half hour later. She says, you won't believe it. It happened again. Somebody else called in. And so, we didn't get those stories. We lucked into what we lucked into. And so with that, having a plan, it makes a difference. Literally, I think if it weren't for you guys and the help and the training that you offer our people, we would have struggled our way through this winter. Other people went out of business. People struggled, laid employees off. We actually had to hire more.
We love having you, buddy.
Hey, we love you, man.
Thanks a lot.
You guys are great.
All right, so that is a fantastic story of somebody who instantly, the minute they started learning these principles, they went back, applied it in their phone calls, and they were booking calls the same day, calls they otherwise would not have booked. And that's what you are about to experience. So here we go. These are the 3 secrets to overcoming price objections without losing the call or having to lower your price. All right, you guys ready? Drum roll. Are you guys ready? Can I get some comments? Maybe see if people are excited. Here we go. Number 1, we're going to show you how to overcome the objections before they even come up. You might be thinking, what? How do you do that? Well, we're going to show you. Number 2, how do you overcome the objections when they're the first thing that comes up in the call, right? It's the first thing that comes out of the customer's mouth. Number 3, how do you overcome the objections when they persist throughout the call? It doesn't just happen at the beginning, but the customer keeps pushing for a price, okay? So here we go. Secret number 1, to overcome the objections before they even come up, you have to give your attention before you take information. Now, let me tell you a quick story. We've coached more CSRs than we can count that have thought that price is the most important factor in the call for customers. We give these people all the tools, all the strategies we have in our arsenal. We send them out to book more calls. Then we come back 2 weeks later for coaching, and the tools didn't work. Then we listen to their calls, and we realize that there's one key element that needs to be present in every phone call before anything else. Before you use any of your tools or scripts or call flows, you have to create trust and likability. You have to give your attention before you take information. Then when we teach them that, when we teach them to create trust and likability first by giving their attention, everything else becomes seamless. Why? Because people do business with people they like. Just last week, one of our CSRs had a tremendous success story that they were telling to their coach, Colton. So she was telling him about her experience with coaching thus far, and she told him the same story all the other CSRs tell us. In the beginning, it was all business for this CSR, right? She figured that her job was to give the customer the information they needed, answer their questions, and schedule an appointment, right? Just business. That was her original perception. But then she had a paradigm shift. Things changed. She realized that it was taking care of the customer and providing an amazing experience, caring about the person, giving her attention that mattered more than anything else. So I want you to take a listen to this. Listen to this experience this CSR had.
It's a great day at Action Offer. The gentleman.
We're going to play this one right here. Here we go.
I realized that it was that I thought I was doing the best I could by being professional, which is what I thought I was doing, and I was leaving out the personal aspect, which you guys made me realize that you can still be professional and have that personal aspect of trying to let them know that you, even though I knew I cared, I knew that it wasn't coming off that way always because I was trying to be professional and stick to our script and be, and just kind of just deal with what they needed, instead of assuming that they did want me also to want to know what was going on, not just get them the solution, which is to help them with their problem. So I was definitely, I know I was missing that part of it. Obviously I know I'm capable of that, but I thought the other way was setting me apart from other people, because other people I felt weren't being professional when they were on the phone, and they weren't giving people all the right information. And so if I remember to do all those things, then I was, doing a great job. So taking it to the next level, with your guys' input, I think has been the personal aspect to it.
Now, how cool is that? It went from being just business, I'm gonna get you on the schedule, I'm gonna tell you how much it is, to they want me to know what's going on. They want me to be present. Okay, if you want to start overcoming price objections, better yet, if you want to prevent price objections, pay attention to the customer. Give your attention first. If you get on the phone and the first thing you start saying is, okay, well, what's your address? Have we ever been to you before? Don't go there yet. Don't go there yet. Give your attention. Find out what they're going through. All right? Listen to this example of a CSR who does this in her call.
It's a great day at Action Offer. The Gentleman Plumbers. Would you mind holding for a moment?
Sure.
Thank you.
If I can make.
Here we go.
And that price won't change. Thank you for holding. This is Robin speaking. How can I help you today?
Hi, Robin. I am phoning to see if I can make an appointment for somebody to come out and fix my toilet.
Yeah, absolutely. What's
Actually,
going on
I have a few chores for them to do.
Sure. That's all right. That's always the best way to do it for them.
I have them here.
Yeah, might as well put them to work, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to this morning?
My name's Gail.
Gail?
Yeah.
And your last name?
Berg, B-E-R-G.
Wonderful. And Gail, if you didn't catch my name, it's Robin.
Yes.
Yes. And what's going on with your toilet, Gail?
So, well, I could, if it was a different setup, I probably could fix it myself, but they've changed it. So it's leaking, right?
Yeah.
So before, you just replace that flapper thing and
Yeah.
then everything's all good. But the toilet's insides are all hooked together in one.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know how to do it myself. I'd try, but I'd end up calling you guys anyway. So,
Fair enough.
to save myself some stress.
There we go. That's all right. I am going to call it a one-piece monster because that's probably the best way to describe that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So type in your comments. What are you hearing in that call? What's going on there between the CSR and the customer? Customer calls in, they have a plumbing issue, and the CSR, did she say anything about where do you live? Did she ask for the address? Did she talk about the price? No, none of that. She didn't even tell them what the company was going to do. She just listened. She gave her attention. You could hear that with each sentence, there was more trust and likability being created. All right, and that's what we're going for here. That is what we want to create on these calls. All right, you've got to give your attention before you take information. That's secret number one. All right, isn't that awesome? You guys with me? It's that simple. It's that simple. It's that easy. Give your attention first. Listen, connect on an emotional level, create trust and likability with the customer. And then here's secret number two. All right. Secret number two, to overcome price objections when it's the first thing that comes up, listen to them. This is pretty much the same as secret number one, but the objection has come up. All right. Now, here's another story for you to illustrate what we're talking about. We need to create trust and likability first, but that doesn't just make it so people don't want to know the price anymore, right? They might like you now and they want to book with you, but they're still curious. Well, how much is this going to cost? They're on a tight budget. They're probably calling you because they're dealing with something they weren't planning for. So we got to thinking, how do you stay in control of the conversation when the customer's trying to get a price out of you? How do you stay in control when the customer is not trying to get a price out of you? You ask questions, right? It's one of the ways we give our attention before we take information. We like to call this plan A. All right, when the customer asks for a price right away, so you answer the phone, hi, this is Zach with Amazing Heat and Air. How may I help you? Zach, what do you charge for a tune-up? We take control of the call. We overcome the price objection by asking the customer, tell me more. That's it. That's it. Zach, what do you charge for a tune-up? Well, tell me more. What are you looking to get tuned up? What are you experiencing? What's going on? How long has it been doing that? You see, you just have to dig and ask questions about what they're experiencing. All right? It sounds like this. Tell me more. Has this ever happened before? How long has it been doing that? All right. If you've got something to write with, which I hope you do, I want you to write these 3 phrases down. Tell me more. Has this ever happened before? How long has it been doing that? I just want to give you these 3 phrases because they're simple, they're easy. We don't want you to walk away with so much information that you aren't sure where to start. This is a great place to begin. When your customers call and the first thing out of their mouth is, hey, how much do you guys charge? Tell me more. Tell me more. What's going on? Has this ever happened before? How long has it been doing that? And I promise you that when you do that, you're going to see more calls being booked because your customers are starting to feel listened to. They're starting to feel heard. You see? All right. So that's plan A. Let me show you this in action. All right. Take a look at this CSR implementing plan A in their calls. How can I help you?
Yes, good morning, Todd. My name is Lynn, and I'm wanting to know how much is the service call. I have a dryer that, a Whirlpool dryer that's just staying on sensing and it's not working properly.
Oh, does the dryer turn at all, or does it just
It just
light
stays
up the
on
sensor without
sensing.
turning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the drum doesn't turn?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's no good. Any idea how old that
What
might
I
be?
gather, it looks like it might be a fuse.
Could be, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea of the age of the dryer?
Yep, I bought it in '08.
2008, so not too old then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd be happy to take a look at that. When would you like us to come out?
Okay. So right there, you heard it. Right off the bat, he says he's asking questions about what's going on. Tell me more. How long has it been doing that? Tell me about this. How old is it? He's asking questions. That's plan A. If you want to overcome price objections when they're the first thing that come up in the call, ask them to tell you more. Ask them if this has ever happened before. Ask them how long it's been doing that. That's it. Okay, so far, secret number 1, look how easy this is, guys. Secret number 1, prevent the objection from coming up at all by giving your attention first. Engage in a conversation with the customer. Second, if they do bring up the objection, ask them to tell you more. Ask questions about their situation. That's it. Those are the first 2 secrets, guys. And these are 2 things that if you go and you start applying today, you're going to book more calls. All right? So, are you guys ready for secret number 3? Is this all sounding good so far? Pretty awesome. Here we go. Secret number 3. To overcome price objections when they persist throughout the call, create value. And do so before you present your dispatch fee. All right. Now I'm excited about this one because this is one I have a feeling is really going to resonate with you guys. All right. So let me share another story with you. Does that sound cool? Okay. We know we need to create trust and likability first. Okay. We know that. But then when we listen and we get them to tell us more, they might still be concerned later in the call. You see, if I go through and I ask them to tell me about their situation and I ask, so when would you like us to come out, like Todd did in the last call, they might bring up their concern again. They might say, well, hold on, Zach. Before I book this call, I just want to know how much you charge, right? I'm sure you've experienced this before. You get to the point in the call where you're ready to book it, right? You're asking for their address and their other information, and then they say, but hold on, stop. I don't want to book anything until I know your price. Okay? And here's what we do in that situation. Okay? Imagine this scenario with me. Okay, this is before you implement these secrets right here. This is what we are currently hearing happen all the time in the industry. You keep asking for a price over and over, and the CSR gives in and says, okay, well, it's going to be $89 for us to come out. Do you think you're going to book that call if you tell them it's $89 for us to come out? Let me give you a hint. Nobody wants to pay $89 for you to come out. Okay? So if you're hearing this and you know that you as a CSR have a tendency to tell your customers it's going to be X amount of dollars for us to come out, or if you're a business owner and you know your CSRs are telling customers that, that needs to go. All right? That's secret number 3. We cannot do that because nobody wants to pay $89 for you to come out. All right? That's one heck of a trip to the gas station. You know what I mean? No one wants to pay $89 for you to come out. But imagine this scenario now, okay? You're asking for a price, so the CSR assures you we can definitely help. Let me tell you how we work. We send out a licensed, trained, and certified technician to your home. He has a fully stocked truck so he can get started on the work as soon as he arrives. He's backed by our company that's been in business for over 35 years, and we're family owned and operated. So you are in good hands. When he arrives, he'll do a full inspection of your unit, and you can plug in there if it's AC, furnace, whatever it is. He'll determine what needs to be fixed, and he'll sit down with you to go over all your options. It's like an in-home consultation. He will then present you with a quote based on what he finds and what your options are. To have him come out and do all this, it's only $89. So when would you like us to come out? Now are you willing to pay $89? Significantly more so. Significantly more so. That's plan B, all right? Plan A at the beginning of the call is tell me more, what's going on? Plan B, if they persist, if they keep asking for the price, is build value. Let them know how we work, all right? You're going to be a lot more willing to pay $89 now. Why? Because there's so much value behind it. It's not just $89 for you to come out. We're going to send out the technician. He's trained, he's certified, he's backed by our company. He's got a fully stocked truck so he can get started as soon as he arrives. He'll get there, he'll do a full inspection of your system. He'll sit down with you and go over all your options with you, and he'll present you with a quote based on what he finds. It's going to be a great experience. To have him come do all that, it's only $89. That is secret number 3, folks. All right? It is one of the most powerful tools that I can possibly give you. Okay? It is one of the things that when we coach CSRs and their teams, they're going, wow, that's incredible. And it is, because they book more calls by doing it. All right? Take a listen to what happens in this call.
I'm getting a new one.
Well, yeah, that's something we could definitely help you out with.
Okay, so what is your service call charge?
Right, that's a great question. What we would do is we would send out one of our factory-trained and certified technicians, and he would come out there in a fully stocked truck, take a look at the dryer, figure out exactly what it needs to get it up and running again for you. And he would quote you an exact price before any repairs are made. And the service fee for him to come out and do that would be $49.95, but that is completely waived when you authorize any repairs.
Oh, okay.
All right. Oh, okay. That's it. That's what happens. This is something we literally hear happen all the time. Is instead of telling the customer, well, it's $49 for us to come out, and when the customer hears that, they go, $49 for you to come out. I don't have $49 to pay for someone to drive to my house. But when you build value first, they say, okay, sounds good to me. I get all that for $49 or $89 or however much it is. Great. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, that sounds great, Zach, but I can't possibly build value like that on every call, especially not with my return customers, right? They've heard it before. It would get redundant. And some customers don't care for all that. They just want a price. Or my dispatch fee is $129. There's no way I could sell that. I'm here to tell you that regardless of what your fee is, if you create value, they'll pay it. Price only matters in the absence of value. Price only matters in the absence of value. Okay? In addition to that, you can build value like that on every call, and you should. You just have to add a personal touch. If you recite the same thing on every single call, yeah, it will get redundant. But if you tweak it to meet their individual needs by telling them we're going to come out and look at your furnace, the technician will do a full inspection of your air conditioner, determine why it's blowing warm air. You see, when you add those personal touches, you're able to build value on every single call. And as far as your return customers go, why do you think they're returning? It's because they see value. Make sure they continue to receive that value every time they call. Why would you change your approach just because they're not a new customer? Why would you stop building value just because they're calling again? It's because of how you treated them the first time they're calling back, right? Build value on every call. Don't present that fee. Don't present that fee unless you create value first, okay? So there you have it. To overcome price objections when they persist throughout the call, build value. Sound good? You guys like that? Is this all working out so far? Okay. So let me ask you this. We have the 3 secrets, okay? To start overcoming price objections before they even come up, you have to create trust and likability. You've got to give your attention and listen. To overcome the price objection when it's the first thing that comes up, you've got to ask them to tell you more. Get them talking about the situation. And number 3, to overcome the price objections when they persist throughout the call, create value and then present your fee. Tell them, let me tell you how we work, and go through what that appointment's going to look like with the technician before you present the fee. Okay? I can promise you that if you do these things, if you implement these principles, you're going to book more calls. Now let me ask you this. If you used secret number 1 and created trust and likability over the phone, and then you used secret number 2 and overcame their first price inquiry by asking them to tell you more, and then you used secret number 3 and overcame their persisting price concerns by building value in your services before you present the fee, do you think you're going to book more calls? Do you think you will? When you hear this, does this sound like something that you go, wow, that's simple, that's easy. I can start doing that today and start seeing more appointments. All right? These are the 3 secrets to overcoming price objections over the phone without losing the call or having to lower your price. And the underlying truth here is this: these calls can be booked. They are not impossible, confounding customers that can never be pleased. They're human beings that want to be heard, understood, and cared about, and they want to receive value. They have a problem just like all your other customers, and they need that problem taken care of. If you can meet those needs, you will book more calls. You will, I guarantee it. We've tested this and proven it over and over and over again with over 1,000 CSRs in 3 different countries, and the conclusion is the same everywhere we go. It works. Because if they don't book with you, who's going to help them? Sometimes we act like if they hang up the phone and call someone else, they're magically going to get exactly what they're looking for, but that's not the case. They're going to book with somebody who's going to charge them a fee they don't want to pay. Let it be you that they book with because they like you, because you gave attention, because you asked them for more information and you built value. Serve that customer, book that call, train your team and train yourselves to do it. All right? Now, it can feel a little overwhelming when you learn lots of information like this, right? Most of you just got back from Lennox Live, and in the last couple weeks, I'm sure you gathered a boatload of information. You came home, relaxed, then went back to work and thought, oh, shoot, what do I do now? How do I begin to implement all this great content and information I got from these people at Lennox Live, right? You went to breakout sessions, you heard big keynote speeches, and it can all kind of seem like a fire hose of information, right? How do I begin to implement all this? Now, it's impossible for me to give you everything we have on overcoming price objections and booking more calls, booking calls even when you're booked solid, selling service agreements, handling angry customers. But I wanted to give you these 3 secrets and do it as simply as possible so that you would have something you could confidently begin to implement in your call handling right away. And we also created a special package for those of you who are ready to implement these strategies and more into your organization and focus more on creating a wow experience for your customers. So I want to ask you guys, is it okay if I spend 10 minutes going over a very special offer we've created to help you implement these strategies in your call handling team? Is that all right with you guys? It's totally fine if not. I already know this stuff. This isn't about me. This is for you. We cool with that? All right, good. I'm seeing some positive signs. I appreciate the feedback, guys. Here's where we're going to go. Here's what we're going to offer you guys, okay? This isn't about me. This is for you. I'm going to spend 10 minutes here talking about an offer that's going to help you change your business, okay? Are you excited about what we talked about? Feeling a little overwhelmed? Here's the offer, okay? The first thing we do is we're going to offer you guys an initial introductory training. This can be done either in person or via webinar. In it, we introduce your team, your entire team, everyone in your company, to the Pattern for Excellence. It's our trademarked system for wowing customers. You're going to get a full day training with your entire team when we come in person, one-on-one practice and attention from the trainer there in your office, examples of what to do and what not to do in the industry, and instant accountability. You're going to have someone there in your office or with you via webinar if you prefer, helping you practice to implement these things right away, okay? Let me show you what it was like for one of our customers, okay? One business owner wanted to remain anonymous. They said, after speaking with Stephen at a break, I immediately signed up 4 people for the half-day class and made plans to have him come out for the whole day. Stephen did not disappoint. Stephen's one of our trainers, guys. We had a great day of training with my CSRs and service professionals. We're working hard to ensure that we implement all of Stephen's advice, and we're looking forward to closing more leads this AC season. Thank you again. Stephen is quite an asset, and I'm looking forward to following up with him to make sure we stay on track. This person had an incredible experience with the in-person training. Bob Lepides at SVP Marketing and Communications said he attended Power Selling Pro's workshop this morning, and as it was advertised, it was amazing. All right? Steve did a fantastic job. He was passionate, engaging, informative, empathetic, positive, humorous when necessary. In fact, he embodies all the qualities you guys teach. He wisely asked me to write a review, so I'm writing it now. Then he says, I think we had 29 attendees this morning, including myself. I sat in the back and saw Stephen hold everyone's attention from start to finish. No small feat in today's world of less attention spans. People are eating these initial trainings up. I think we're booked out to the end of April right now for these. Finally, Michelle Ferreira says, quite frankly, these 8-hour training sessions can be tedious and they often lack interest and become restless. My mind begins to wander out of my personal life and duties that need to be handled. However, the class stayed engaged and participated from start to finish. Kudos to Stephen, not an easy task. All right, this is a training. If you're worried about, gosh, a full day training or a webinar training, I can't keep my team's attention for that long. We have been doing this for a long time, and these are the kinds of things people say every time our trainers come out. Okay, so if you have concerns about training because you have not enough people to cover the phones while it's happening, don't worry. We split the training into 2 groups, okay? If you have CSRs, you need to keep the phones busy. We have a group of CSRs taught in the morning, a group in the afternoon. We can even add your techs in there as well in the morning, okay? So number 1, you're going to get an in-person training, and that's a value of $3,950 if we come in person, or $1,950. Now that's the value of it, okay? Let me show you the second thing. You're also going to receive the Pattern for Excellence toolkit, all right? And these are the tools you'll be able to use to book calls in any given number of circumstances on the phone. And you'll never, ever have to worry about making another script again, all right? If you're an office manager or CSR or an owner, and you've sat down and thought, gosh, I got to make another script for my CSRs. I got to write down all the things that we need to say on the phones. Never again. We have spent the last decade perfecting these call flows so that you don't have to go to all that time and effort, all right? You're going to get the Pattern for Excellence book for each member of your CSR's team. You're going to receive a call flow that guides them from beginning to end of the call. You're going to receive an angry customer call flow that will teach them how to respond when your customers call in angry and still create an amazing experience. The service agreement sales call flow. If you're trying to sell service agreements on the phone, this is going to walk you through exactly how to do that again and again and again. Service agreements are the lifeblood of your company. You're going to receive an urgency list call flow, and that's a tool that we use to book the call, even if you're booked out for a week and you don't have any appointments available till next Friday. Okay, that's what the urgency list call flow helps you with. And the price objections call flow that takes the secrets we've been talking about today and puts them into a call flow. All right, you will never have to create a script again. I cannot tell you what incredible tools these are and the things we've seen happen in companies by simply implementing what is in these call flows. That's the toolkit. And if you have concerns about that, like maybe the call flow won't work for me, or gosh, you've been using it for other companies, but there's no way it could work for us. These call flows are all principle based, meaning they can be adjusted to your specific situation. All right. We create our call flows based on principles that are timeless and that can be applied no matter what industry you're in, no matter where in the country you are. All right. If you're in the Northeast or the West, doesn't matter. We base them on principles that we follow in every call. They work regardless of what your situation is. The applications may change depending on circumstance, but you'll follow the same call flow no matter what. All right. So you've got the initial training, the Pattern for Excellence Toolkit. It's a $1,500 value. That math is based on if your CSRs book just one extra call a day with each piece of the toolkit. All right. You're going to get a power tracking report. That's the next tool you're going to receive. What happens here is we go in and we listen to 100 of your phone calls. And we give you a report on conversion, meaning out of 100, how many turned into actual appointments, and quality, meaning of the 100 and of the ones that turned into appointments, how many of those calls were good? They might have booked with you, but do they like you? Are they going to call you again in the future? All right, this is a one-of-a-kind report we've created. You'll know how many calls are being booked and how many of them are actually good. This will give you an idea of what customers like you and will call you again. All right, it will give you the criteria as well, so you know exactly what you need to be doing differently on the phones. The Power Tracking Report is a $100 value, plus the Pattern for Excellence Toolkit at $1,500 value, plus your initial training. You've got an in-person training with $5,575 value if you go that route, or if you do the webinar, everything adds up to $3,575. Now, we're also going to give your CSRs power coaching. These are bi-weekly call monitoring that happen where we go in and we listen to your CSRs, phone calls, recorded calls if you have them, every other week. We go in and we listen to their calls and we take notes so that we know exactly what they need to do better. We then coach each CSR one-on-one over the phone using their own calls to create accountability, right? This is what we're talking about today. You've learned these 3 secrets, but how do you keep your team accountable? You've got so many things going on. How do you keep them accountable and coach them on a regular basis? Make sure each person gets the attention they need, right? That's what coaching is for. We coach them one-on-one over the phone using the calls that are monitored every other week. And in between coaching sessions, since we coach them every other week, that week in between, they're going to receive additional training videos and content related to each lesson. So if I teach your CSR today about overcoming price objections, next week they're going to receive a training video in their email and other material to help back up what they've been taught and keep it top of mind. This is accountability. This is how results happen, okay? That's power coaching. In it, we're going to talk about the anatomy of the phone call from beginning to end, how you connect with the customer on a personal level, negotiation skills with time and money, service agreement sales, and creating a wow experience for the customer. These are some of the topics that make up what they learn in power coaching. If you've ever thought about any of these things, which I imagine you have if you're on this webinar today, this is what they learn in power coaching. If you have concerns because you don't have call recordings, oh gosh, you can't coach my CSRs, I don't record their calls. Don't worry. They will be shown recordings of some of the best in the industry, and they will practice with their coach. We encourage you to get call recordings, but they can still be coached if you don't have call recordings, because we have a library with hundreds of calls that we use to teach them. And if you're worried it's going to take them away from the phones, gosh, I can't have my CSRs away from the phones to be coached. The coaching sessions are only 30 minutes, and they are make up an hour a month because there's 2 coaching sessions, and their 30 minutes away from the phones will help them book more calls than they would have had they been sitting on the phones. It's only an hour, okay? If you have concerns, don't worry. We make those things work. This is something we've been working on for over 10 years. So you've got your initial training. You've got your Pattern for Excellence Toolkit. It's a $1,500 value. Power Tracking, a $100 value. Power Coaching, that's a $6,000 per month value, folks. $6,000 per month. That math is based on if you have an average ticket of $300 and your CSR books only 1 more call a day, and I certainly hope you're expecting more than 1 call. Only 1 more call a day, that's an extra $6,000 in revenue. That's the value of power coaching. Okay, all this adds up to $11,000 plus $6,000 per month if you do an in-person training, or $9,000 if you do a webinar. That's the value of what we're talking about here. Okay, the final thing that you get is power certification. There are 3 levels of certification that the CSR passes every 3 to 4 months. There are regular assessments from our Power Selling Pros team. We assess them, we test them to make sure they are implementing and practicing what they are learning. They become Power Certified after they pass all 3 levels, and they maintain a call conversion rate of 85%. That means of the calls they're taking, they're booking at least 85% of those consistently. And that, my friends, imagine this. I imagine you train and certify your technicians. What about your CSRs? What about your CSRs? Power certification is priceless. The value of power certification cannot be quantified because of the impact that it has. We have seen companies that literally go from barely making it through slow seasons to thriving because their CSRs know how to book all the calls that are coming in. You're going to get an initial training. You're going to get a Pattern for Excellence toolkit, $1,500 value. Power tracking, $100 value. Power coaching, $6,000 per month value. And power certification, it's all valued at $11,575 or $9,575 if you do a webinar to start. Now, let me ask you this. If all this did was help you book one more call a day, and I hope you expect more, would it be worth it? If you have an average service call of $300, you book one extra call a day over 250 working days in a year, that's $75,000 in revenue for one CSR. All right? Now, I'm not going to charge you $11,000 and $9,000, okay? I'm not going to do that. That's the value of it. But if all it did was help you book one more call a day per CSR, would it be worth $11,000? Yes. I see it. Yeah, you guys are right. Absolutely. It would be well worth the value, okay? If all it did was help you book 2 extra calls a day, all right, you've got 2 CSRs that are implementing these tools, $300, 2 extra calls a day, 250 working days, $150,000 for a CSR. If you have 2 CSRs with these skills, that's $300,000 extra dollars a year in revenue just by booking 2 more calls a day. Would it be worth it? Absolutely. 100%. It pays for itself. If you're worried about getting more customers and to solve that problem, you're spending more money on advertising, stop right now. Stop spending more on advertising. Focus on booking the calls that are already coming in. Because if you're losing 40 or 30% of the calls that are coming in, that's where you need to fix it. Okay? If in the gold rush, if you went panning for gold with a holy bucket, it doesn't matter how much gold goes in, it's all coming out. Same thing, if you're spending money on advertising to get 100 customers calling in a day, but 40 of them aren't even booking with you, that's where we need to focus. All right? If all this did was inspire greater confidence in your CSRs and trust from them to you, because they're being trained, they have skills now, they see that you're investing in them, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? I hope the answer is yes to that question, because that changes not only how many calls you're booking, it changes your company's culture. All right? Now, we had 2 choices here today. We had 2 choices with this offer. We could have gone as cheap as possible to sell as many people as possible on this program, but the problem is we couldn't really give you all the value you deserve if we did that. So we decided to go with a second option, which obviously requires a slightly higher investment on your side, but in exchange, we dedicate more time, more energy, and more resources to guarantee your success. We guarantee you'll book at least 85% of their calls when they get power certified. Okay? So let me ask you this. If you had a trained and certified CSR team today that was booking 2 extra calls a day per CSR, would it be worth it? How much would you pay to have that kind of result? Each CSR booking 2 extra calls a day. What would you pay to have that result? You can probably see why the value is so high for each of these elements, because it's not a cost. This is not a cost. This is an investment. This is an investment in your business, in your CSRs, and in your future company. So the total value of everything I've talked about here today If you go with an in-person training, it's over $11,000, $11,575. If you go with an initial webinar, it's $9,575. And then it's $6,000 per month per CSR if they book one extra call a day. That's the value of what we're talking about. But what you're going to get, if you go with an in-person training, it's only going to be $3,250. No travel expenses. No travel expenses. We cover that. You pay $3,250. We come out for a full day to introduce your team to everything we've talked about. Then it's $299 per CSR per month after that. And if you're worried about return on investment, all you have to do is book one extra call a month to pay it back, to cover that investment. That's it. You pay for your CSR to get coached, they book an extra call the first day of coaching, sweet, it just paid for itself. And obviously I'm hoping you're expecting more than that. So if you want this offer, here's your opportunity. Text I want the offer to 801-686-8933. Text that number saying you want the offer, and our business developers will call you and we will help you get started with power certification. You have two choices here now. You have the offer in front of you. We've given you the 3 tools, the 3 secrets to overcoming price objections without losing the call and without having to lower your price. So you can take this information and you can go back and you can do nothing. You can try your best to implement it and you might have some success, or you can take the leap, you can invest in your call handling team, and you can change your business because you're going to book more calls. You're going to acquire more customers. You're going to see a lot more people saying, wow, you guys are amazing. Because just like the salesman who got me to buy a suit and 3 new ties when all I wanted was a price, you're going to be creating a wow experience. Okay, text the number 801-686-8933. Text I want the offer. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be exactly those words. Just text the number, say you want the offer, you want to take advantage of this. Because here's the thing, it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk whatsoever. If you invest in this program, and after a month of coaching you decide, dude, this isn't working. We don't like this, we're not satisfied, there's nothing here for us, we'll give you your money back. We'll give you every penny, every single dime of your upfront investment and coaching. We'll give it all back if you're not satisfied in 30 days, okay? The real question is this: is it worth your investment to try this for only a month? If you only book an extra call every other day, even in your entire office, you generate $3,000. If your whole call handling team only books 10 more extra calls in a month, you generate $3,000 in extra revenue. Is it worth it to try it? I mentioned earlier in the webinar that you don't know if it works if you don't give it a try. This is your opportunity. Text 801-686-8933. I want the offer. I want to take advantage of this. And we will help you get started with power certification. We will help you inspire your CSRs and your customers. You have only 24 hours to take advantage of the offer. So 24 hours from now, that'll be noon Central Standard Time tomorrow. The offer is up. It's no longer there. Everything goes back to full price. Okay? There's 24 hours to take advantage of the offer. Text I want the offer to 801-686-8933. Take advantage of this. All right? To conclude, get started. Get started, guys. This is an enormous opportunity for you to grow your business simply by creating an amazing experience for the customer over the phone. The tools I gave you today were simple, and they are tools that you can go and you can take and you can start implementing now to start seeing a dramatic difference. If you want help implementing it, if you want to see results, if you want to see things happen with what we taught you today, you get an in-person training, Pattern for Excellence Toolkit, power tracking, power coaching, power certification, all valued at over $11,000 or $9,000 if you do a webinar. And it's only going to be $3,250 to come in person and implement all that. $1,250 if you do the webinar, and then $299 per CSR after that. It is a program that pays for itself. So you guys, I have loved talking with you all today. This is something, in case you couldn't tell, I'm extremely passionate about. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think so. I hope you've enjoyed learning the 3 secrets to overcoming price objections without losing the call or having to lower your price. Go implement those tools. Text I want the offer to 801-686-8933, and we will get you and your team power certified. Thank you, everyone. Hope you all have an amazing, amazing weekend.